Week 14 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few hitters I looked at off the wire this week. The first hitter, James Wood of the Washington Nationals. So James Wood, he's going to make his major league debut tomorrow for this Washington National team, and he was tearing it up in the minor leagues. He's one of the big pieces in the Juan Soto deal, a couple trade deadlines ago, going from the Nats to the Padres. So James Wood, he's a blue chipper prospect, top 10 prospect in all Major League Baseball. And this national team, they're trying to make a push, obviously, to make the playoffs, because right now they're hovering around 500 and only a few games out of the wild card. So in the season in the minor leagues, he's tearing it up, and there was nothing left for Wood to prove. 10 home runs, 37 RBIs, 44 runs scored, 10 stolen bases, a 353 average, and a 463 on base. So right now, like I said, he's teared it up in the minor leagues is James Wood. He's a blue chipper prospect, and this guy could be a cornerstone for many seasons, the 21-year-old for this national team. 6'7", 234, big dude, and I believe he can help them, even though I know these guys in the outfield playing well for Washington. Jacob Young, obviously, playing well. Lane Thomas, he's been a good nat over the last few seasons, and Jesse Winker's been a surprise. But when you got a blue chip prospect ready to go and someone who can help you for the playoff push like a James Wood, he's definitely someone to add, and this is the last chance most likely for fantasy owners to go out there and get him. Available only in 54% of fantasy leagues. Next hitter I looked at off the wire this week's Mark Vientos of the New York Mets. So Mark Vientos, he's helped the Mets turn their season around once he got called up and took Brett Beatty's place. This Met team's been on a tear over the last 20 games of the season. So on the year for Vientos, 10 home runs, 23 RBIs, 24 runs scored, a 290 average, and a 350 on base. So Vientos, he was tearing up in the minor leagues for many seasons for this Met team. The problem was he didn't really have a position, but he's definitely improved defensively at third base. And over the last couple weeks here, he's been a power guy. 5 home runs, 7 RBIs, 11 runs scored, a 275 average, and a 326 on base. So last chance most likely for owners to go out there and get Vientos. He's one of the cornerstone prospects now for this Met team to go with Francisco Alvarez, showing power and getting better playing defensively at third. So the last few games for Vientos: June 23rd at the Cubs, 1 for 4, homer and RBI. June 25th versus the Yankees, 2 for 4, 2 homers, 2 RBIs. June 26th versus the Yankees, 1 for 3, 2 RBIs. June 28th versus Houston, 0 for 3, a run. And June 29th versus Houston, 2 for 4, a homer, and RBI, 2 runs scored. So if you need power and batting average and RBIs right now, Mark Vientos is definitely bringing that to fantasy owners. And he's got good versatility as well, qualifying at first and third. And one of the big pickups this week off the wire, next hitter, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa of the Toronto Blue Jays. So last week, Kiner-Falefa was a good add off the waiver wire. And once again, I would go out there and get him. He's been a hit machine for this Toronto Blue Jay team. And he qualifies at second, third, short, and outfield. The ultimate utility man for fantasy baseball. It's on the season for Falefa: 7 home runs, 33 RBIs, 32 runs scored, 3 stolen bases, a 286 average, and a 335 on base. But over the last couple weeks, he's been on a tear, red hot, one of the better hitters in all fantasy baseball. 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, 13 runs scored, a 395 average, and a whopping 450 on base. If Falefa available right now in 64% of fantasy leagues, getting an everyday opportunity, especially with Olvis Martinez, who they called up and thought he was going to help this ball club, and then he got busted 80 games for PEDs. And right now, Falefa, he's getting the everyday chance, and he's making the most of it. June 25th at Boston, 1 for 4 run. June 27th versus his former team, the Yankees, 1 for 2, 2 runs. June 28th versus the Yankees, 2 for 4, a homer, and RBI, 2 runs scored. And June 29th versus the Yankees, 4 for 5, an RBI, 3 runs scored. So he's wearing out his former team right now is Kiner-Falefa, and he's been playing well over the last month of the season. So right now, everyday opportunity, batting either ninth, first, or second usually for this Blue Jay team. And with all those positions, and with him being a hit machine over the last month of the season, he's definitely a good add this week. The next hitter, Noelvi Marte of the Cincinnati Reds. So Marte, speaking about PEDs, he was suspended 80 games. He's been back now over the last few games. I know he struggled in the minor leagues for the couple weeks before he got off the suspension, but so far we've seen him out there for a few games. He's only played in a few games, and he's 3 for 14 in the early going of the season for him. 4 runs scored, 2 RBIs, 2 stolen bases. Right now, Marte available only in 52% of fantasy leagues. He's a blue chip prospect. Obviously, the PEDs could have helped him, but now he's up, and we'll see if he could be good or he was fluky because of the help he got. So the first 3 games since he returned, June 27th, the Cardinals 3 for 5, 3 runs scored, an RBI, a stolen base. June 28th at the Cardinals 0 for 4, and June 29th at the Cardinals 0 for 5, a run, a ribbon, a stolen base. So he's a 5.2 player. Top 30 prospect in the major leagues is Novo Marte. I've been talking about him over the last few weeks, and now that he's arrived off the suspension, I definitely would go out there and add him off the wire. Like I said, he's a 5-tool type of player, and he's getting the everyday opportunity for this red team right off the bat. Next hit is Jose Miranda of the Minnesota Twins. So Jose Miranda available in 80% of fantasy leagues. He's been an all-around player this season for this Minnesota Twin team, and he's been playing well on the year. 8 home runs, 36 RBIs, 26 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, a 294 average, and a 339 on base. But over the last couple weeks, he's been on a tear as well. 2 home runs, 13 RBIs, 5 runs scored, a stolen base, a 395 average, and a 444 on base. So Miranda, he hasn't done much throughout his major league career, but now getting an opportunity every day. Last season, we saw him with for a few months with the Twins, but an everyday opportunity. And he's moved up the lineup as well over the last few weeks. June 26th at Diamondbacks 3 for 4, a run, 3 RBIs. June 27th at the D-backs 1 for 2, a run, 2 RBIs. June 28th at Seattle 1 for 4, a bag. And June 29th at Seattle in that one, 2 for 4 with an RBI. So Miranda playing good baseball, one of the better pickups this week off the wire. And he's still out there in 80% of fantasy leagues. I'm not saying these players are going to continue to play at this good pace, but right now while they're hot, and this is how you play the waiver wire, you pick up a player, and then if he struggles, you go to the next hot hitter and hope some of these guys stick. So right now while Miranda's playing good baseball, he's a solid add this week. Next hitter is his teammate Carlos Santana of the Minnesota Twins. So Carlos Santana, the veteran, he's still trucking along and playing good baseball in his major league career. Available right now in 61% of fantasy leagues on the season. 12 home runs, 39 RBIs, 31 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, a 250 average, and a 329 on base. So Carlos Santana still has that pop where he can hit anywhere from 20 to 30 home run range. And over the last 2 weeks, that average has gone way up. 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 7 runs scored, a stolen base, a 364 average, and a 440 on base. So Santana is turning the clock back a little bit this season with the Twins, even though last season he did finish 23 and 86. And June 26th at Arizona, 3 for 5, a run. June 27th at the Diamondbacks, 2 for 5, an RBI. June 28th at Seattle, 0 for 4. And June 29th at the Mariners in that one, 1 for 4. So Santana's playing good baseball over the last few weeks. He's always been a streaky hitter throughout his career, especially going back to his Cleveland Guardian days, where he was a 30 home run hitter on that roster. So right now, up there in the latter part of his career, he's still contributing and showing power, and he's a good add this week. Next hitter is Jose Siri of the Tampa Bay Rays. So Jose Siri, he's definitely a streak hitter, and he's an all-or-nothing type of hitter as well as Siri. Right now, available still. The league's at 78% on the season for Siri. 11 home runs, 29 RBIs, 36 runs scored, 7 stolen bases, a 219 average, and a 300 on base. But the last couple weeks, he's turned it up. 4 home runs, 6 RBIs, 11 runs scored, a 317 average, and a 404 on base. And over the last month of the season, he's had 8 home runs. So Siri got off to a super slow start to begin the year, but now he's picked it up like he did last year when went 25 home runs, 56 ribs, and 12 stolen bases. So like I said, he's not going to give you batting average. He's going to show power. He's going to strike out a whole lot, but he could steal some bases as well, anywhere from that 12 to 20 range, I believe, this season. So right now, while Siri's hot and this Tampa Bay Ray team starting to play better baseball, he's an ad this week, June 25th versus Seattle, 1 for 1, 2 runs and RBI. June 26th versus Seattle, 0 for 3. June 28th versus the Nats, 2 for 3, 2 homers, 2 ribs. And June 29th versus the Nats, 0 for 3. Playing great baseball. He bring you a few categories where he's going to bring home runs and stolen bases, and available in 78% of fantasy leagues. Next hitter I look to get off the wire this week, he is Hester Kjerstad, the Baltimore Orioles. So Kjerstad, one of the top prospects in Major League Baseball, and one of the top prospects in this loaded farm system for Baltimore. Available in 70% of fantasy leagues on the season. In a small sample size for Kjerstad, he's 7 for 26, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs, 2 runs scored, So Kiner available in 70% of fantasy leagues, and he's definitely got power. He tore it up in the minor leagues this season. There was nothing left for him to do in AAA. But the only thing with me is I don't know if they're going to get consistent at-bats for Kiner. But since he's returned to the major leagues, June 24th versus the Guardians, 2 for 4. June 25th versus the Guardians, 0 for 1. June 26th versus the Guardians, 0 for 3. June 27th versus the Rangers, 2 for 3, a homer, 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored. And then June 29th versus Texas in that one, 1 for 1 with a grand slam in that ball game. So Kiner playing good baseball for this Baltimore Oriole team. He's a top prospect in the system. Like I said, he did everything he can in AAA, and it was time for him to come up to the majors. Just playing time could be an issue. But like I said, he's a blue chipper prospect, and someone, if he gets more playing time, could be one of the hotter pickups this week on the wide. Next hitter, Chigansky Noel of the Cleveland Guardians. So you want to talk about raw power, Noel has it, and he qualifies at first, third, and outfield for this Guardian team. So right now, so far this season, we've only seen Noel in 9 at-bats, and he's 3 for 9, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored. So Noel, he just came up a few days ago for this Cleveland Guardian team, and he's been in the lineup 2 out of the 4 games. He's another guy like Kiner where they got to find the spot for Noel with the power he has and the versatility. And this Guardian team, obviously one of the best teams in the American League this season, already over 50 wins on the year. June 26th of Baltimore, 1 for 4, a homer and RBI. June 27th, the Royals, he pinched hit 0 for 1. June 28th at the Royals, pinched hit once again, 1 for 1. And June 29th at the Royals, 1 for 3, a homer, 2 RBI. So right now he's playing good baseball in the small sample size is Noel. And with his versatility and the power he's shown so far in the early going, available in 88% of fantasy leagues, I would definitely give him an ad this week. And the final hitter I look to get off the wire this week is Kyle Hishigawa of the San Diego Padres. So Hishigawa, all of a sudden, he's been on a tear of late for this Padre team and showing big-time power. 9 home runs, 22 RBIs, 14 runs scored, 211 average, and a 250 on base. But over the last month of the season, crazy power, especially at the catcher position. 8 home runs, 19 RBIs, 12 runs scored, a 292 average, and a 346 on base. Available 93% of fantasy leagues is Hishigawa. He hasn't really been a hitter in his career, even though last season he did have 10 home runs and 242 at-bats. But already this year, to have 9 home runs and 95 at-bats. And he's played real well with Hishigawa, especially coming off a monster game this week. June 24th versus the Nats, 1 for 3, 2 RBIs. June 25th versus the Nats, 1 for 4 run. June 26th, the monster game versus the Nats, 3 for 4, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, 3 runs scored. And June 28th at Boston, 1 for 3, a homer, 2 RBIs. So this Padre team, all of a sudden, they were slumping, and they've turned things around, winning 8 out of 10 ball games. And Hishigawa's been a big part of it. So if you need a catcher in 12-team leagues or deeper, we just got to see more playing time out of him. But he's definitely shown pop and someone who can help fantasy owners for now. So that's a few hitters I looked at off the wire for Week 14 of the fantasy baseball season.